It was a quiet afternoon at the Inkoyoyo Quarry Dam, a secluded body of water surrounded by rock and stillness in the hills of Eswatini, formerly Swaziland. The kind of place people visit to unwind, to escape the heat, or to enjoy a simple moment with their family. A father had brought his young son to the water's edge that day, maybe for a swim, maybe just to cool off, maybe to share a peaceful memory together. But what no one expected, what no one could have imagined, was that the boy would end up recording his father's final moments alive. The footage begins like so many casual clips. At first, things seemed fine. The boy continues to film, his voice light and curious. But within seconds, the tone changes.
Daddy, tak pemanjang. Daddy, tak pemanjang. Oh, ma. Asal kau ni? Siap. Daddy. Oh, ma. Daddy. 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 Ya, hamba gaming. Daddy.
The cold water, still and dark, starts to pull at him. His movements became labored. He's trying to keep his head above water, reaching, but finding nothing. The boy starts calling out, but there's no answer, no reassurance. The man slips beneath the surface. A dangerous place, disguised as calm. The Inkoyoyo Quarry. Dam, like many abandoned quarry lakes around the world, holds hidden dangers beneath its surface. These waters are often extremely deep, unpredictably cold, and deceptively calm. The bottom drops off sharply. Underwater ledges can be hard to climb, and the shock of the cold alone can cause a swimmer to seize up, even if they're strong. This is not a swimming pool. It's a pit carved by machinery and time, a place where one wrong step can mean no return. And that day, it became a silent trap. The boy never stops filming. Whether from shock, confusion, or the belief that this was just part of the plan, he keeps the camera pointed at the water. The clip is just a couple minutes long, but it captures something unimaginable. A child watching his father drown. It's a truly horrific way to spend the final moments of a life. And unfortunately, even more tragic cases like this continue to unfold, including another deeply disturbing one in the next video. Quick interruption. If you're enjoying this video, why not hit that subscribe button? We're on a mission to hit 500,000 subscribers, and when we do, 3 lucky fans will win a limited edition CreepyVids hoodie or shirt. Right now, 61.4% of you watching haven't subscribed yet. It's completely free, and your support helps us make even more awesome videos. So, don't miss out. Subscribe now, and let's get back to the video. This is the tragic story of Joe Phillips, whose curiosity led to a chain of events that ended in heartbreak. It all began on August 10, 2016, when Joe Phillips and a friend decided to explore the abandoned High Tread International Recycling Plant in Lockport, New York. What started as a thrill-seeking adventure turned into one of the most devastating fires in the city's history. The two friends made their way to the back of the massive, decaying factory and discovered an open window. Climbing a nearby ladder, they entered the building, capturing their exploration on camera. Inside, they began lighting pieces of paper on fire, seemingly for fun, as they wandered through the factory.
This is how you make like a real big fire.
You crush it?
Wait, no. See?
Oh, it's gonna spread out.
Oh, do the smoke.
Bro, that's so cool.
Their actions quickly escalated as they set multiple small fires throughout the building, completely unaware of the disaster they were creating. At one point, one of the boys used a burning piece of paper as a makeshift torch to navigate the dark corridors.
Oh my god, this is amazing.
Look, smoke.
Bro, that's so cool.
What the boys didn't realize was that embers from the torch were spreading, igniting materials around the factory. Small flames turned into a roaring inferno. Within moments, the entire structure was engulfed. Panic set in as they realized the situation was spiraling out of control. As the fire intensified, the two friends attempted to escape. One of them managed to flee the building, but Joe Phillips was tragically trapped inside. In his final moments, Joe left his friend a heartbreaking voicemail.
You're a fuck! I'm really fucked! You're a die! Baby! I don't know. I don't know how to die this way.
His words were filled with desperation, a devastating reminder of how quickly things can take a tragic turn. The inferno raged for 3 days, destroying not only the factory, but 4 nearby buildings on the property. The scale of the fire was unprecedented, requiring the evacuation of over 200 families in the surrounding area.
Ripped through the factory. I'm now joined by Lockport Mayor McCaffrey. Thank you for joining me. Can you just kind of start by giving an overview of how many residents have been impacted or how are impacted right now?
Sure. We have 9 streets that were evacuated last night. It's about 200 homes. That evacuation is still in place right now until our fire chief, Chief Brady, reverses that. But at this point, it's still evacuated area. First of all, we've got fire departments here from all over the region assisting us. I think right now we have about 6 agencies helping us. Last night we had 26. So the fire is a bit more controlled right now, but we continue to work on it.
Firefighters from multiple departments worked tirelessly to battle the blaze, which quickly became one of the largest fires in the history of Lockport. The destruction left a permanent scar on the community, and the tragic loss of Joe Phillips left an emotional void for all who knew him. Joe's story is a powerful reminder of how one small action can have catastrophic consequences. It's a tragedy that underscores the dangers of abandoned buildings and the devastating power of fire. Danger can strike very fast, as you just saw, and the same goes for what you're about to witness in the next video. On February 8, 2007, the world of figure skating witnessed one of its most harrowing accidents. At the Four Continents Championships in Colorado Springs, Canadian pair skaters Jessica Dubé and Bryce Davison took to the ice, their routine unfolding with elegance and precision. But in the blink of an eye, beauty gave way to horror.
Side-by-side spins now. Oh! Oh, no!
Oh my God.
No.
He clipped her. They got too close.
This is every pair's worst nightmare. Oh my gosh.
Here comes the medics out onto the ice.
As the pair executed a side-by-side camel spin, Davison's skate blade arced too close, slicing across Jessica's face with devastating force. Gasps echoed through the arena as she collapsed, blood staining the pristine ice. The performance ended instantly, replaced by chaos.
Well, I think it's a good sign that she's crying.
There's her coach, their coach, Annie Barabay. All she can do is stand by the boards and watch. Oh. Oh.
hard to tell from that angle.
Looks like the cut is under her eye.
And it is Bryce. Bryce travels.
Oh.
There's no doubt about it.
I can't look.
There's no doubt about it. You want those spins to be close, but not that close.
We'll try to update you on Jessica Dubé's condition when we return.
Medics rushed in, and Jessica was taken to Memorial Hospital, where surgeons worked to close a deep laceration that stretched from her nose to her cheek. It would take nearly 80 stitches to repair the damage, and doctors confirmed what many feared. The blade had missed her eye and vital facial nerves by mere millimeters. The injury left a scar, one Jessica would carry for the rest of her life. Yet her spirit was far stronger than the wound. With Bryce by her side, she began the painstaking journey back to the ice. Her recovery documented in the CBC Sports special, Back on Ice. By November of that same year, against all odds, the duo returned to competition, capturing bronze at the Canadian Championships. The accident sparked international conversations about safety in pair skating, as officials from the International Skating Union reviewed the risks of close-contact spins and lifts. Yet no rule changes were implemented, leaving athletes to face the same dangers that Jessica and Bryce had confronted firsthand. Eventually, their careers came to a natural close, Jessica retiring in 2010, Bryce in 2014. Today, Jessica Dubé continues her journey within the sport as a coach in Quebec, her story standing as both a cautionary tale and a testament to resilience. Because what happened that day in Colorado Springs was more than a freak accident. It was a reminder of the razor-thin line between artistry and danger in the world of figure skating. And though the ice may have healed, the memory of that moment remains frozen in time, a scar on the sport as enduring as the one Jessica still carries. It's disturbing to realize that danger can strike in the moments you least expect it, and the same goes for these next final moments that were captured on camera. What was supposed to be just another night, a joyride through the countryside, turned into the kind of reckless escape that feels invincible, until it's not. 20-year-old K.L. Ford and his friend, 21-year-old Michael Owen, were staying in Crowborough, far from their hometown of Royal Tunbridge Wells. That night, they got behind the wheel, laughing, filming, and pushing speeds of up to 90 miles per hour through the winding roads of the Sussex countryside. What began as harmless fun quickly turned into the last moments of their lives, and it was all captured on camera. The boys had taken a dangerous mix of illegal and prescription drugs, a detail that would only be revealed later in court. The footage they filmed on Michael's phone captured everything: the roaring engine, the shouts of excitement, and the final seconds before the crash. You can almost sense the moment everything tips, when adrenaline turns into panic and laughter into silence. The next morning, their bodies were found in the wreckage, the car twisted around a tree. Michael's phone lay nearby, almost untouched, still holding the recording of their final moments. Both families later made the heartbreaking decision to release that footage, hoping it would serve as a warning to others. A reminder of how quickly life can end when recklessness meets speed, and no one is there to stop it. The sound of their voices, the rush of wind through the open windows, the final sudden silence. It's all real, and it's all they left behind. No second chances, no final goodbye, just a recording and the silence that followed. If you found this disturbing already, then brace yourself for what you're about to see next. A vacation that turned into a nightmare. In August 2015, what began as a family getaway took a horrific turn, one that would shock not only Mexico, but the world. In the city of Morelia, Michoacán, a family checked into a local hotel under the quiet warmth of a summer evening. But hidden behind the palm trees and the tiled walkways, surveillance cameras captured something no one was ever meant to see. 3-year-old Fatima Cecilia Aldriguete Alvarez was there with her mother and stepfather, Jose David Lopez Garcia. The trip was meant to be a chance to bond, a brief escape from routine. But beneath the surface, something far more sinister was already unraveling. The tragedy took place at the hotel's outdoor swimming pool, normally a place of laughter and carefree joy. But that day, it became the scene of a calculated and unforgivable act.
A 3-year-old girl drowned after being thrown repeatedly into a hotel swimming pool in Mexico. Horrifying surveillance video obtained by a Quadratine News TV shows her stepfather throwing her in multiple times. He watches her bob up for air and appears to pull her as she's submerged underwater. According to the time listed in the surveillance video, the two were at the pool for an hour and a half and then returned later. He tossed her into the pool again and then attempted to throw a life preserver at her.
Security footage shows Lopez Garcia grabbing the little girl and throwing her into the pool. Over and over. She splashes, struggles, climbs out. But he throws her back in, again and again. No comfort, no hesitation, just deliberate cruelty. Her strength fades with each plunge. Her small body grows weaker, her efforts slower.
Reports say the mom of the daughter was asleep in the hotel while the stepfather took the toddler to the pool. He has been charged with homicide and is currently in prison awaiting a court hearing.
And then, she doesn't come back up. The final plunge becomes the last. Her mother, still asleep in their room, unaware that the most devastating moment of her daughter's life was unfolding just meters away. When the footage surfaced, it left no room for doubt. The courtroom watched in stunned silence as every frame played out, each more gut-wrenching than the last. Lopez Garcia was arrested, charged with homicide, and sentenced to 100 years in prison. The judge called it an act of extreme cruelty and a betrayal of parental duty. The sentence was a message, not just to him, but to anyone who would dare to hide malice behind a mask of family. And yet, the horror of this case isn't just in what happened. It's in how easily it could have gone unnoticed. Had there been no cameras? Had she not fought back so visibly? We may have never known the truth. It's unsettling to see what can happen behind closed doors, and it happens more often than you might think, unfortunately, including in this next video. Christopher Gregor was only 6 years old when his short life came to a brutal end. Born in 2015, he was described by those who knew him as a bright, lively child, full of energy, innocence, and promise. Yet behind closed doors, Christopher was trapped in a nightmare no child should ever have to endure. On April 2nd, 2021, that nightmare came into the light. The story that would eventually make headlines begins with a disturbing video recorded at a gym in New Jersey. In it, Christopher is seen running on a treadmill, his small legs struggling to keep pace with a machine that was far too powerful for his tiny frame. What may have looked at first like a child exercising quickly revealed itself as something much darker, evidence of abuse that had gone unchecked for far too long. Christopher was already running for more than 5 minutes when his father, James, came standing nearby, forcing him to run faster, pushing the machine beyond what the boy could handle. Christopher stumbles, falls, and is placed back on the treadmill again. Each time, his fear grows more visible. Each time, his pain is ignored. The treadmill becomes more than exercise equipment. It becomes a weapon of control, a tool of cruelty. A father's duty is to protect his child. Yet here we see that duty twisted into something unspeakably dark. Christopher's cries go unanswered, his exhaustion overlooked. What should have been a moment of care turned instead into relentless punishment. This moment captured on camera was only part of the bigger picture. Christopher's life was marked by abuse that would later be uncovered through testimony and investigation. The treadmill footage revealed what words alone could never fully convey: the helplessness in his body language, and the imbalance of power between a vulnerable boy and the one person meant to keep him safe. Not long after, Christopher's suffering reached its tragic end. He died from trauma inflicted at the hands of his own father, his small body unable to withstand the violence any longer. The treadmill footage became one of the most powerful pieces of evidence in the case, proof of a pattern of cruelty that had gone too far. For many who watched, the images are unbearable. They force us to confront the harsh reality that sometimes the danger children face does not come from strangers, but from within the very homes meant to shelter them. Christopher's story is a reminder of innocence lost too soon, of a system that failed to protect him before it was too late, and of the scars left behind when a child's cries for mercy go unanswered. And while the case against his father may bring justice in the courts, no verdict can undo the suffering this boy endured or the haunting weight of his final days. Christopher Gregor's story will forever serve as a warning, a tragedy that should never have happened, and one that must never be forgotten. It's unsettling to see what can happen behind closed doors, but what's even more disturbing is how quickly a life can end due to a reckless decision. There's something undeniably exhilarating about bungee jumping. That moment when you step off solid ground, surrendering completely to the fall. Your heart races, your breath catches, and the world becomes a blur. For many, it's the ultimate adrenaline rush, a test of courage, a brief moment of weightlessness where fear and freedom collide. But that same thrill also comes with risk. Because in a sport where your life quite literally hangs by a cord, every detail matters. The rope, the harness, the signal. There's no room for mistakes. When everything works, it's unforgettable. But when something goes wrong, it becomes a nightmare caught on camera. That's exactly what happened during the May 2025 holiday period in Sichuan, China, a scenic location known for its stunning views and popular bungee platform. What was supposed to be another safe routine jump became one of the most horrifying incidents ever captured on video. The footage shows a man preparing to leap. Tourists look on. The moment arrives, he jumps. But something's off. There's no resistance, no tension, just a terrifying, unbroken freefall. For a few heart-stopping seconds, it appears he wasn't secured at all. The clip went viral instantly. Some viewers noticed what looked like a cord connected to his front. Others insisted a second safety line, likely the backup, was never attached. Many speculated that he jumped before staff gave the green light. Whatever the case, one thing was clear: he should not have jumped when he did. In bungee jumping, the line between thrill and tragedy is razor thin. And in this case, that line might have been missing altogether. This person lost his life while chasing a thrill, and the next individual wasn't doing anything different, never expecting how it would ultimately end. On April 28, 2000, Yuri, a Russian diving instructor, was on vacation in Dahab, Egypt. Despite being relatively new to technical diving, Yuri was determined to dive to the bottom of the Blue Hole, a massive underwater sinkhole known for its stunning beauty and its deadly reputation. Locals call it the Diver's Cemetery, and for good reason. With depths of over 426 feet, this natural wonder has claimed the lives of between 130 and 200 divers in the past decade alone. Yuri was eager for an adventure and asked around for an experienced diver to join him, but no one agreed. Every diver he spoke to warned him about the dangers, telling him he needed weeks of preparation and specialized equipment. But Yuri wouldn't take no for an answer. He had only 2 days into Hob and was determined to dive. Against all advice, Yuri made a fatal decision that would soon turn into one of the most well-known diving accidents in history. The Blue Hole, located just a few meters from the shore, is more than a beautiful sinkhole. It's a natural death trap. The underwater structure gradually slopes before plunging straight down, with its depths eventually reaching over 3,300 feet in the open sea. Yuri was determined to reach the bottom, unaware, or perhaps unwilling to accept, that he was about to make a critical mistake. Yuri entered the water around 5 p.m., camera strapped to his head, ready to document the dive from his perspective. Several divers witnessed him begin his descent, but none knew the full extent of the risks Yuri was facing. He wasn't wearing an additional diving cylinder, something crucial for preventing nitrogen narcosis, a potentially fatal condition that can make divers feel drunk and unable to make rational decisions as they descend too deep. As Yuri descended, things initially seemed calm. The sunlit surface began to fade, and darkness enveloped him as he continued deeper into the blue hole. But as he moved further away from the group, his fate was slowly being sealed. By the time he reached 33 feet, his lungs were only taking in half the air they had at the surface. Nitrogen was building up in his bloodstream, a ticking time bomb waiting to go off. At this point, Yuri should have been using a special gas mixture designed for deep dives, but instead, he continued with just compressed air. Soon, nitrogen narcosis began to cloud his mind. But the real danger? Yuri had no idea it was happening. He kept descending, passing the 130 feet, the absolute maximum depth for recreational diving. And then, in a matter of seconds, things took a turn for the worst. Yuri began sinking uncontrollably. He tried desperately to slow his descent, but his buoyancy control device wasn't working. The pressure inside his lungs intensified as he plummeted deeper, and panic set in. The water's crushing force, combined with nitrogen narcosis, impaired his judgment and mobility. He was sinking fast, too fast. And in a final desperate attempt to inflate his buoyancy device, the worst happened. It burst. At just over 300 feet, Yuri crashed to the bottom of the blue hole, face down. The camera captured it all: his descent, his desperate attempts to survive, and his final moments. By 5:11 p.m., just minutes after entering the water, Yuri Lipsky was gone. But this wasn't the end of the story. A week later, on May 5th, a local technical diver named Tarek Omar was called to recover Yuri's body. Tarek had been to the blue hole many times, tasked with the grim responsibility of recovering the bodies of divers who never made it back to the surface. This time, it was Yuri's turn. Tarek descended into the depths, finding Yuri lying motionless at the bottom. There was nothing to be done. Yuri had been dead long before anyone realized he was missing. As Tarek examined the scene, he noticed several alarming things. Yuri was carrying too much weight, about 26 pounds of lead on his belt, far too heavy for a dive of this magnitude. His buoyancy device had ruptured, leaving him with no chance of rising to the surface. And worst of all, he only had 12 liters of compressed air, a death sentence for a dive this deep. But Tarek made another discovery: Yuri's camera. Initially, he assumed it was broken. The model wasn't supposed to function beyond 246 feet, but he brought it to the surface anyway. Little did Tarek know, the camera had survived, and it had recorded everything. Upon reviewing the footage, Tarek saw Yuri's final moments play out in real time. The sinking, the panic, the attempts to rise, and finally, the deadly silence. It confirmed what Tarek had suspected. Yuri had succumbed to nitrogen narcosis, his heavy gear had pulled him down, and his vest had failed. But knowing the cause didn't make the tragedy any easier to bear. The hardest part for Tarek wasn't watching the footage himself. It was the fact that Yuri's mother was there in Dahab, waiting for news of her son. She had been the one to contact Tarek when Yuri didn't return, and when Yuri's belongings were handed back to her, the camera was included. Tarek later said that if he had known the camera was still working, he would have destroyed it. No mother should have to see her child's final moments unfold on video. Yuri Lipsky's dive is now infamous in the diving community. His story serves as a grim reminder of the dangers of deep diving and the consequences of ignoring the risks. Today, the entrance to the Blue Hole is lined with memorials and tombstones, honoring the lives of those lost beneath the waves. And among them is a memorial for Yuri, a stark reminder of a dive that went terribly wrong. A plaque reads, Yuri Lipsky, October 1st, 1977 to April 28th, 2000. You will always be with us, Mama. It's heartbreaking how danger can be hiding in the smallest corners, and you're about to see that same harsh reality unfold in the next clip. The video involves a chilling Facebook post made by a user named Jose de Jesus. In the post, he simply wrote, "I just got this image and video. Very scary." Attached were 2 photos and 3 video clips, all relating to a high-speed street race that took place at night on the N1 freeway in Cape Town, South Africa. Curious for more context, I looked into the incident. What I found was deeply unsettling. The footage, captured by bystanders standing on an overpass, shows the race unfolding at breakneck speeds, and then, one of the cars loses control.
Is that a fucking BM? Ja, hij is M3. Hij is M3. Ja, moet dan nog
The video captures the horrifying moment the car swerves violently and crashes directly into the median at full force. It's not just the crash that's disturbing, it's the speed. According to the image attached in Jose's post, the car was traveling at nearly 192 miles per hour, or 312 kilometers per hour. At that velocity, even a minor mistake becomes catastrophic. But things only get worse. One of the videos shows footage taken from inside the car, recorded by the passenger during the race. Watching it puts everything into perspective. The reckless speed, the lack of caution, it's terrifying. And then the camera cuts out, violently, just before the crash. But the most disturbing part of Jose's post? The final video. This one is not something I'm going to show uncensored. In it, you hear the agonizing cries of the driver, still alive, as doctors work frantically to keep him stable. A censored version exists, and even that is difficult to watch. From what I was able to glimpse, part of the car's door frame was embedded in his skull, and somehow, he survived. He remains in critical condition, but alive, a miracle, considering the severity of his injuries. This incident is a brutal reminder of just how fast things can go wrong. Behind the thrill of illegal racing lies a terrifying reality, and this driver, along with his passenger, learned that in the most horrific way possible. What's perhaps most fortunate and shocking is that no bystanders were harmed. Because at 312 kilometers per hour, this story could have ended much, much worse. If you found all of these videos disturbing, then brace yourself for the last one. Shit! Shit! This video raises serious questions about the tragic chain of events that followed a seemingly routine traffic stop. It all began in February 2018, when Deputy Lorenzo Lugan pulled over a 28-year-old man named Bren Thompson for driving with expired plates. At first, the stop appeared uneventful, but things quickly took a strange turn when the suspect gave the name Jacob Jones, which the deputy soon discovered was an alias after running it through the system. In the body cam footage, the deputy calmly asks, "Why didn't you just give me your real name?" But instead of responding, the man suddenly takes off running.
Oh, did you give me the right name?
Yeah.
What's your name?
Jacob Todd Jones.
Okay. Why don't you give me the right name?
It is the right name.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Brent, I know. So right now you're under arrest. Stop! You're your tase! Stop!
The deputy gives chase, ordering him to stop, but the suspect ignores the commands, sprinting toward the edge of the road and leaping over a busy highway barrier. In a desperate attempt to stop him, the deputy fires his taser, and the suspect falls onto the highway, just as traffic speeds toward him. What happens next is heartbreaking.
Shit! Shit! Hey man. Hey, stay with me.
An oncoming SUV, its horn blaring, has no time to stop. It strikes the man, killing him instantly. The driver, likely in shock, flees the scene. The incident sparked outrage, and the deputy was later sued by the suspect's parents, who blamed him for their son's death. While some see it as a tragic consequence of poor choices, others argue that the situation escalated far too quickly, and better de-escalation could have prevented the fatal ending. What do you think? Could this all have been avoided? Or was it just a tragic accident no one saw coming? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Now, that was all for today, folks. If you enjoyed these creepy video, click to see more on the video on screen.